Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
Holy Testicle Tuesday
was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
He may not have the social graces. He may not have a lot of charm.
Want to touch the hiney?
But when it comes to being stupid,
I'm a dog.
he's brilliant.
Oh, I kind of feel like an idiot sometimes. Although I am an idiot, so it kind of works out.
Adam Sandler is...
You got a misshaped head.
Billy Madison.
Yeah, so what's your point?
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, February 10th at theaters everywhere.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
I was wondering if you need an experienced water boy.
How old are you, kid? 11? 12?
I'm 31 years old.
Bobby Boucher is a loser.
Hey, water boy!
But on November 6th...
Stop making fun of me.
He's going to fight back.
Damn!
From the director of The Wedding Singer...
Must be something wrong with his medulla oblongata.
Adam Sandler. The Waterboy. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, November 6th.
Well, they can get a whole lot worse. So we're not going to fight anymore. We're going to pull together and we're going to find a way to get out of here. First, we're going to seal off this movie.
Oh, snap.
Doesn't really get old, does it?
Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Knives for sale. H2O. H2O. Water sucks. It really, really sucks. Water sucks. It really, really sucks.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
That's for sure.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. What happened here? There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, we're good. Hope everybody is doing well out there. Welcome to Talk Hard. Hope you're having a wonderful week, wonderful Tuesday. What better way to spend it was here hanging out with us. We're continuing our Sandler Summer shenanigans. That's right. We're going to be talking some more Adam Sandler movies, having some fun. If nothing else, we'll have some fun at his expense. Even if we don't have total fun with all of his movies, we definitely will pick some to have a good time with. So hope you're doing well out there, and let's welcome this wonderful panel as always. How are you, Miss Mouse? You doing okay?
Doing great. Enjoying the rest of summer. Started some trainings and stuff for school to start again in August. But yeah, doing great. Just enjoying the last few days.
That's it. Just take advantage of the time we have with her. And if you have not been a part of the channel, you're not a member or anything like that, just consider checking out the first time watch reaction video review that we did with SQUEEKA, where we discuss her first time watching Blazing Saddles. That dropped today. It was recorded a little while ago, but we had all sorts of copyright issues. We could try to keep the clips intact, the things that make her giggle. And yeah, it is phenomenal to be able to get that experience kind of like put out there and documented. And we have another great follow-up coming up soon. We'll be sharing with everyone her reaction to The Naked Gun. Yes.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, very excited. IRONCASTER, my friend, what's going on? How you been?
Doing fantastic. Sorry, give me 1 second. I have the phone call coming out of the blue.
All right, we're going to skip IRONCASTER. We'll come back around to the old Shark Man. LOKI, brother, how have you been? What's going on?
Attack of the Killer Avatars. I don't think I've ever been on here when it's like all of us are using avatars. No one's on video at all. Weird.
It's been a long time for that.
It's been a long time. I'm all right. Working my butt off. So I'm good though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Sandler Summer's been fun. I'm having a good time with it. Trying to make the best of the challenge, if you will, of taking in movies like this that I don't actually always watch and getting some different ones. But before we get too much further, let's say hello to this wonderful chat. Snorty kicking in the door, holding to everyone else, saying hello to the other humans and the other critters. Hello to you, Snorty. Hope you're doing well. Great to see you. Great to have you with us. Penny as well. Great to see Penny. Always. Love you, lady. Hope you're doing good. And I got to give out those YouTube memberships. Let me throw them around. Let me do my thing there. Z3PO, Tim Hayes, Iron Age Marketing, our own Ironcaster, and Dempsey getting those memberships. So thanks for that, folks. And SQUEEKA Mouse donating 5 more. Sweetness, a great charity that she's so generous with us so much. Shellback, Padawannabe, Captain Phantom Nerd, AC, Angry Canadian, and the Undead Ramen also joining the old Pop Modics there. And for any of you looking for some exclusive content, I've been a little behind on some different things that are going on. I probably need to do a video trying to explain what's going on behind the curtain. But the first time watch video with SQUEEKA was up, but now we'll get the one up with Gord King. We discuss Air Force One. He had never seen Air Force One, so we talk about that Harrison Ford movie. So that'll be up soon. Saul Assassin's here. Great to see Saul Assassin as always. Always fun to have folks who've been around. So yeah, that high school scene. Some high quality H2O. Pops on top. Yeah, pops on top a little bit. We'll move around. Get Ironcaster back on top where he belongs. Yeah, we don't have any cameras tonight for different reasons. I have a weather crazy storm going on right now. And Loki's got some work stuff going on. So yeah, we're just, you want to see a face? Well, I'm sorry. I don't want to tell you. No faces tonight. I mean, I could turn it on, but you're going to be disappointed. It's all shadowy and dark in here. Look, there's Ironcaster. He's showing off his beautiful locks. Hopefully that'll be enough to tide you over for a moment, because put him over here where he needs to belong. Look at that. We got to show off our assets around here. Yes. Did she enjoy the Madison? Well, you got to tune in. You got to tune in and listen, Snorty. If you love to hear SQUEEKA giggle, you're going to love to hear her talk about Blazing Saddles.
You see, that would be telling, and we'd rather show you this with the video that's already been recorded. So do be sure to go check that video out after the stream.
Yeah. Are we just hanging out in a room? We wish we were hanging out in the same room. That would be the dream. That'd be the dream. So.
The terrible movies we would throw on and watch.
No, we would not. We would have some incredible movie that we could say we all got a chance to watch together. It'd be something like Wrath of Khan or Tremors or some golden classic from our archives that we would enjoy. It's having the experience.
Tremors, which one?
Right, look.
5, 6,
right.
7.
See, I still need to see Tremors, so y'all could be there if we watch Tremors for the first time.
Add Tremors to the list for next year. It seems appropriate. Since I think it was our first. If it wasn't our first, it was the first or second. But it was it seems appropriate to have the Talk Hard repeat. Yeah. So, all right. Well, listen. Let's get right to this. Billy Madison is, to be perfectly honest, is not one that I had high positive memories of. Did not look forward to rewatching. Was like, all right, fine. I love the stupid gags, but I hate the stupid elements. So in other words, I enjoy the bathtub scene. We'll show you in a moment some of the silliness and goofiness, but all of that I don't really enjoy. I think it's a nice, sweet movie with a lot more of a story and heart than I remember. And that was that. That's kind of how I feel about it. So Ironcaster, my friend, where are you at on the Billy Madison?
Oh, this was, I'll go ahead and tell you, this was straight up 2 out of 5 movie. I was rewatching it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember liking all these little bits and pieces of it along the way. The stop looking at me, Swan, and I'm gonna catch the penguin, and all these little things like that. But I mean, the package as a whole is it's kind of a bad movie. But it's also a sort of one of those first movies of Adam Sandler. So in a way, there's a lot of forgiveness for that, just because he's pretty raw here. He hasn't refined what he would go on to do.
Well, he has. I mean, there's not really been any sort of advice either. I think it's just literally SNL thrown into the Hollywood system, make a movie. And by the way, we're going to reference it a lot of times. We might as well just share it with you guys. If you're watching this after the initial stream and it's a little bit shortened or edited, guess what? Welcome to YouTube. That's how it works. Here we go.
Shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair. Conditioner is better. I leave the hair silky and smooth. Oh, really, fool? Really? Stop looking at me, Swan.
I feel like it needs to be clipped into 2 parts, and maybe they'd let it fly. Yeah, stop looking at me, Swan.
The question is, how high was Adam Sandler when he did that scene?
That was my question too. For a lot of that movie, a lot of his movies, period. I'm like, is he what they talk about in Hollywood, or is he high?
Yeah, I don't even know that Sandler's talked a lot about, what drugs he was doing or how life was during those early days. This movie is just like a character from the SNL universe. I know Waterboy actually is a character. He'd come up with the concept from SNL. But Billy Madison, the zaniness and the weirdness of the first portion of the movie, and then of course after he loses the thing, he has to go back home and be dumb again. Yeah. Anyway, look, what do you think about the old Billy Madison experience?
Oh, I love Billy Madison. So this is one of the very first movies I saw him in. I used to watch Adam Sandler in SNL. So back when he was on Saturday Night Live, he was funny. Him and Chris Farley worked together, and Chris Rock and David Spade, and a whole bunch of them all worked together and came up in SNL. I always thought they were funny then. I remember watching this. I watched this in the living room of my parents' house, and my dad commented and was like, "That's got to be the dumbest son of a bitch I've ever seen in my life." And, we all thought it was funny. I had the CDs and the tapes and the cassettes and all that, so I thought it was freaking hilarious. I loved it. When we'd go on to get Happy Gilmore, which we talked about last week, and we went on to get Waterboy, and these really, really fun movies, and then he just kind of petered out later. And like we talked about last week, maybe it came from him being an executive in his own movies, but they just kind of stopped being really funny, and he became a meme of himself.
Yeah, and I think it kind of we talked about this thing in the formula last week with Happy Gilmore. So you guys in chat, keep us honest of what you think. I feel like his better successes are when he's surrounded by people who can help carry the water, right? The cast is good. The cast has moments that steal things. Chris Farley will show up and do something so ridiculously insane you can't unsee that ever in your life again. So yeah, this movie is it's got moments, like I said, quotable moments and some funny, goofy silliness and stuff like that. Yeah, but it definitely lives up to its dumb nomenclature. But Zach's on the road, so great to see Zach's checking in, listening. Greetings from the Riding Mountain National Park. Well, greetings to you, Zach. Hopefully you're enjoying your time, and love you, brother. Hang in there, man. Talk to you soon. Slasher Fred. 2 movies are very similar because they both center around Adam Sandler's character who's a student. Yeah, well, they're similar, just that they're the early phase of Sandler, him going through characters, create characters, and that kind of shtick, basically. And then, of course, they kind of stack on each other, giving him the success. And that's what we were talking about last week that he referenced was, once he's doing his own production, he doesn't tend to have necessarily people keeping him in check and sort of saying, hey, this needs to go through another draft. This story needs a little revision right here. Those kinds of things. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. SQUEEKA, what are your thoughts on the old Billy Madison experience?
It was interesting. The musical scene, I agree. The musical scene was pretty wild. Especially at the end where he's like asking about gum. I was like, what? Maybe it's because I don't have a lot of experience with Sandler. I didn't like the voice he used in this. Like there was something.
That's so eerie. Is it how good he was just doing that? Isn't it? Wow.
Well, it was, and I know that's his way. Like we saw a titch of it in Happy Gilmore, although that was more kind of a flatter tone. And then of course he reuses it in Waterboy a little, but it was just this. I don't know that it was just so out
the
there.
dinner scene. The dinner scene was just awful for that.
Oh.
It's him doing nothing but talking in that dumb voice and just making gibberish sounds. So it sounds like you're getting cursed by a gypsy.
Or even like when he gets kicked out and then he goes and he's doing the poop on the porch thing again, and just there were moments where I was like, okay, I can't. I just need to pause this for a minute. I did enjoy the story in a way, but
Did the bathtub scene work though? Did we get a little giggle out of it for the bathtub scene?
well, it's funny. It's a very funny movie, and I did like the bathtub scene. I liked the penguin, and I liked some of the callbacks to things. I liked Juanita.
Oh yeah, Juanita's gold.
The way she would motivate him.
Yeah.
Let me take off my top.
You go to school, you can kind of stay here to shave my armpits. I'm like, whoa, girl.
Yeah.
It's like, get it.
Yeah, good. Slasher Fred brings up great point here. Movie starts. Darren McDavin, the dad. He was obviously also the father in the famous Christmas Story, and also Kolchak, the Night Stalker. So yeah, he's a great actor, great performer. Good, and it's easy to play like the straight guy, the dad. So it works out really well. So yeah.
And the evil guy. I know I've seen the evil guy somewhere before. Eric. But he just the way they interacted too, like he's just such a good snotty bad evil guy.
I don't know. I mean, for me, it just there's a lot of the stuff that made him the antagonist in this movie that Shooter McGavin just does better in Happy Gilmore. I think that.
Oh no, he's not better than Shooter. No, he's just like he just fits that sleazeball part the best. And like when they get to the ethics question, I was like, this is so amazing. I love that part. It was so perfect.
Yeah, smarmy. I love the word smarmy. He Eric is smarmy, and I think he's. I like the fact that it's not like Happy Gilmore, but I will agree with what we said last week. We talked about Shooter. I don't think I'm ever rooting for Eric. He's like D-bag from the get-go, and it's the difference. Like Shooter didn't really do anything wrong. Happy Gilmore just kind of came into his world, and just didn't know how to react. Eric is kind of I don't know. Maybe he's supposed to have not been a bad guy, but he just seems like he was trying to, weasel his way and everything and things like that. But it's also one of the negatives about the movie is sort of like the verisimilitude goes away, right? Like I have a hard time believing Billy wouldn't just want to stay home and just get drunk and live off. Let Eric go make the money. I don't care. Like it doesn't make a difference to me. But yeah, good moments though, for sure. Good moments.
But I like how it sets up that animosity between both of them from the get-go, so you're not left wondering why doesn't he let Eric do that. You know that he's got this like hate on for Eric despite the luxury he lives in or whatever, and especially at the dinner scene where we see them picking on one another, like I can see why he wouldn't just leave it to Eric because he doesn't want Eric to have it, and I like that it sets that up early.
True. Saul has some saying Firuza Balk is a hot chick back in the day. Yeah, jumping ahead to Waterboy. She's the hot chick in Waterboy. Yeah, she's leaning into her assets for sure. Mm-hmm. Tim Hayes, great to see you. Great to see you, brother. Thank you so much. Hail everybody out there.
Hail, Tim.
Let me see here. When you get a chance, let me see here. Let me see a thing here. Fred saying the musical number is a funny scene. Yeah, I think it's probably one of the funniest. And Tim using those emojis like a boss. There you go. That's how you do the member thing. Going around. He's got a Bob Ross down there, a Talk Hard, some daddy bags. We got it all. Meloncaster. Can't forget Meloncaster. Meloncaster doesn't get enough love around here. That's all I'm saying. Nacho Libre Principle was funny. Yeah. Obviously he's in City Slickers, what we've talked about before. The principle and the backstory of the principle is actually just so wild that actually still makes me laugh. Like it's just so crazy. I like that. Definitely. Let's see. I get through most of the other comments. Claude is here. Hey, Claude. Scrolled past it, but hey, Claude. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Loki? What is sort of like one of the redeeming elements of the movie that you really do enjoy watching, besides like the goofiness elements of it?
I guess it's just, I mean, from a different time. This is really from a different time. Everybody in it is from the 90s. Holy shit. It's pure 90s nostalgia. They're being goofy like they were in the 90s. They don't care about whether they're politically correct or not. The absolute absurdity of Billy just like, oh no, your dad cheated for you, paid the teachers off since, grade 1. You've got to go back through them all. And the fact that they're going to give him the company, and it's all absurd, but it's got that 90s absurdity to it. So it's, I think it's still watchable today. I don't give a crap whether it's politically correct or not. It's funny. There's stuff that carries over to other movies, like the O'Doyles. The O'Doyles carry over to different movies. But this is
O'Doyle rules.
Rules. The O'Doyles, show up later in different Adam Sandler movies, but they all started here. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that started here, and seeing Chris Farley as that bus driver is absolutely nuts. I love it. So. It's like getting the Ben Stiller cameo in Happy Gilmore.
Fair enough. I do think, and I want to repeat what I think I said last week too. I really wish they would bring more of those characters back in other movies. I know that that's not as common now, but even though Sandler's, I mean, I really hope, like in Happy 2, if I had it my way, it would be loaded up with a whole lot of fan service and references and stuff like that, and we'd figure it out. But yeah, I can't say enough about this. It's so insanely.
That is correct.
You know how I love people that will just do crazy, radical, just fear. Yeah, Chris Farley embodies that beyond almost any actor who's ever existed. Like, he's in that like top elite class of just complete fearlessness. He knows he's fat. He knows it's just this crazy thing you can lean into and just do crazy stuff with. And this scene, unforgettable, just completely insane. Let's see. Oh, I lost my sharing. You didn't want to reshare. Okay.
I feel like, and I don't have the SNL background, as I've said before, but I feel like from listening to y'all talk about SNL and the repetition of these same characters and how they're kind of put together in certain movies, and then they're still put together in these other movies, or they bring other new ones in. I feel like this is a different brand of comedy, because I like the fact that they worked together in these little skits. They knew how to make each other laugh. They knew what it took to make people laugh. And then they translated that to these bigger movies that are still funny, because you could see not just their individuality as comedians, but how well they work together and fit together. And I feel like that's missing today in a lot of comedies.
The decathlon.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It is. And who was it? I think it was Vince Vaughn that said studios used to just throw them the keys and let them do what they were going to do. And that is absolutely unthinkable now. Everything has to be under corporate control, corporate approved. No insane jokes, nothing that is politically incorrect. Everything has to, all I's and all T's have to be crossed and dotted. Otherwise, they can't make it. When they just used to be able to make the movie they were trying to make.
And unfortunately, it means that they want to go and try to make the movie that appeals to everyone, by which, of course, they make a movie that appeals to no one.
Well, like even some of the category headings on the decathlon, and like some of the about his wife. I can't remember some of them, but like one of them was like, "My wife is a dirty, dirty tramp" or something. Like I was like, "Oh, those are good categories," but. It's not just that, to like the ethics question that I'm like, him whipping out a gun on stage in the middle of a school. You'd never see that nowadays.
No.
And I just, like I said, just the way they played off of each other, or like with him and Chris Farley, not just the bed scene, but like outside the bus where they're talking about the teacher, you know, and how hot she is. Like just the looks they give each other.
So hot. Want to touch the hiney. Ow.
I'll take I Married Common Street Trash for 1,000, Alex.
Yes.
But it's not just that. It's like when it was like poo, the
burning poo and the human response.
My spouse is sleeping around. Is right over here. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My
fantastic
wife.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that kind of what you were saying, Loki, I think goes with what Squeak is saying too. It's the chemistry from SNL that kind of overflowed into this early era of Sandler. He was bringing in people who could just do these comedic scenes and one-off stuff. It was kind of piggybacking off a whole lot of different people's careers, all kind of maneuvering into the mainstream. And it was Sandler learning just, all right, well, I don't, basically he was just approached, I'm sure, at some point and said, hey, listen, kid, you're funny on SNL. Do you want to go and do this movie? And somebody said, yeah, let's get this done. And he has this crazy, goofy character. And that's pretty much what ends up happening. And it kind of moves forward from there. And, I think it's a screenwriter that he works with a lot. I don't know how to say his last name. It's Tim Harrelly, I think is how you say. Anyway, he's a screenwriter that he and Sandler work a lot, basically collaborates since one of the characters back in SNL. So that kind of parlays into some success and their own company. And I think, Loki, you're right. I mean, Sandler is kind of living in a bubble now because he got paid like $250 million by Netflix to put together 6 movies or something. So the world is just different now and how even these things are getting made.
Well, I mean, you got Adam Sandler and those guys of that generation. It was sort of like this great, although not quite there, this great second generation of like the SNL type crew. And you have so many of these legends that we still talk about today. I mean, Norman Macdonald is up there with them. Chris Farley, David Spade. Even though he didn't make it to SNL, Jim Carrey was another one of those guys who, in another world, could have been in with that crew.
Well, he was on In Living Color, so it's just a different version of SNL. It actually was even zanier than SNL was because it was on a different channel. So,
so he went and auditioned for SNL. He didn't get in there. He did get in In Living Color.
But In Living Color's got some great skits with Jim Carrey.
So much quality comedians of that era. This was like that era where so many of these guys would even then go on to star in their own shows, and we would get spin-offs like Kevin James would get like the King of Queens. Ray Romano's around, and there's got so many other comedians like this who had their own shows that I can't even remember off the top of my head right now.
Well, even the generation prior to that, like the Dan Aykroyd generation, weren't the Blues Brothers based off of an SNL skit?
Yeah, but that was also like that first generation of the SNL actors.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that collective is what led to these actors that would go on to SNL and form these comedic groups, so to speak. And not just that, they had not just the chemistry within themselves, but they had such a grasp of this type of comedy that they could go into movies like this and pick like they would know like what kids to pick. Like this, we need this kid to look this way to be this funny. Like they had the images and the ideas in their head, and it wasn't just a script of I need a little redheaded kid. It was like, no, I need a little redhead kid that can do this or has this kind of image, or I need this particular kind of cross-eyed guy. Like I just feel like they had a better grasp because of the environment they worked in SNL of comedy.
They did. So Adam Sandler did a couple of skits in this like Italian restaurant setting thing, and when they did Coneheads, they actually brought that skit into the movie. So when Dan Aykroyd goes to get his papers to show that he's a legal citizen of the United States, a citizen, which is all illegal, mind you. They've got Adam Sandler set up in this Italian restaurant as the guy selling him a social security card and a birth certificate and all of this. And they play off the stuff they did on SNL. So that character that you see on SNL that's like in the Italian restaurant that Adam Sandler is playing, he comes in and kind of plays almost that exact same character, selling stolen green cards and birth certificates to Conehead, to Dan Aykroyd's Conehead. So they did exactly that. They did exactly what you're talking about, SQUEEKA. They took the people from the shows and kind of incorporated them into the films that they were doing too. And funded movies like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, and they had a part in paying for all that.
Yeah, that Generation 1 that Ironcaster was talking about, when you have Belushi and Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, as well as others like Jane Curtin and some others who move on to other stuff, and it kind of fed into Generation 2, which is where we ended up with like really Eddie Murphy and many others. But once you get into the 90s and you have this next wave and next boom that followed, like Wayne's World, it was really crazy because with Chris Rock and then like you said, Sandler and Spade and all of them, it's just a nice, fine ride. And the 90s were such a fun time to make movies in. And you could have these crazy characters like Juanita making crazy references, making us all laugh and giggle, realizing like the second or third time you watch Billy Madison, what she's actually saying, you're like, holy, wait, did she just say what I think she said? Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So
just throwing lines out about his ass.
She's a great piece. That's what she says. So
that boy is a fine piece of work, all right. He's a fine piece of ass, too.
I want to get to one other cameo bit part, which is SQUEEKA. I don't even know what your reaction was. So Steve, this actor is named Steve Buscemi. He's in a ton of other films, both serious and comedic. Tons of comedy drama. There are movies you would see where you're like, is he the killer? Yeah, there's some crazy stuff out there, right? This is a scene that always just
I love this guy. Love this guy.
He's
and what a payoff! What a callback and payoff on this character! Like I can't believe how good it is. It's super great.
He's also in The Wedding Singer. He's the guy that's like self-taught, no lessons, Dad. When he's
he's the drunk, the fall down drunk at the other. There's so many movies we can keep going through. Tarantino world and obviously Fargo. But there's so many. But in this particular film, unforgettable. So
well, and I love that, and I miss, and I haven't seen a lot of recent movies either, but I feel like there's not enough of this that I've heard. I love this type of comedy where you don't know what's going to happen next. Like he gets off the phone with him, and then you're like, oh, okay, well that's nice. And then he turns around and marks his name off a list, and it's like, oh, didn't see that list coming. And then he whips out the lipstick, and you're like, wait.
Then he shows up later to save the day. Right?
Yeah,
so
I'm so glad I called that guy.
Yeah. Any other little things we can wrap up with Billy Madison? I want to give Waterboy some due. I want to make sure we give enough time for Waterboy as well. Overall, I'm with Ironcaster. I don't love Billy Madison. It's like one of those things where excuses like this make me watch it, and I'm happy that I do. I laugh at when I'm supposed to laugh. It makes me laugh at the things, the same kind of stuff that I laughed at before I laugh at again. I will be honest, it actually made me download a couple of clips that would be kind of fun to have in the archive of things to use. This movie's good for that. Overall, I kind of score the movie very similar. Like it's a 2 out of 5. It's like a 4 for me. I wouldn't really go out of my way, but when it's on, it is what it is. So, Ironcaster, you want to add to what you said earlier with that?
No, I think that's basically kind of the gist of it. I mean, this is not one of those movies I'm going to go out of my way to throw on because I'm like, yeah, I want to watch Billy Madison. No, if there's any one Adam Sandler movie for me that fits that criteria, it's Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is that early Adam Sandler movie that just works for me a lot better. Which isn't to say that Billy Madison doesn't have those great lines, because there's so much of this movie that has just stuck with me. you're always going to think, "Oh, Doyle rules." And also the line like, "What you have just said is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. In no way were you right." Like, there are little bits like that have just stuck on. You will see them kind of pop up in random, YouTube videos to this day. This movie is 30 years old now, and yet we still pull out little references and nods to it. People always remember these lines. It's one I'm not going to turn off, but it's one I'm not going to go out of my way to turn on. So I think a 2 out of 5 is a perfectly acceptable film. It's not perfect, but it shows a good, groundwork from which Adam Sandler would ultimately go to rise to, have a lot of great, amazing stuff. All the range of stuff he's able to do.
And we can have a laugh. It doesn't have to be a good movie. We can still make us laugh. That's actually kind of the sweet spot for a lot of comedies. It doesn't have to be a great movie. Just make you smile, make you laugh. So, how about you, SQUEEKA? How'd it kind of shake out for you?
About the same. I mean, I'd give it a 2 at most. It is funny, and it has funny moments, and it was a great it's a great movie to watch for my first. It was a good first watch. Am I going to go out of my way to probably watch it again? No. If it's on, may I kind of be like, oh, I'll watch a couple of these, or will I do some work while waiting for my favorite scenes? Probably. But it's not. Like I said, his voice I couldn't handle a lot of his voice, but it does have some pretty awesome funny moments. I do love the decathlon at the end. Out of nowhere.
Eric drinks his own pee.
What are the musical number where he's like, I'm like, okay, and then he's like, does anybody have any gum? And I'm like, wait, why do we need gum? Where's the gum coming in?
Yeah.
So it is. I do love that comedy where it's that rolling, I don't know what's about to happen next kind of comedy. And so the first watch was really funny, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, not going to go on my must-watch shelf.
Padawannabe adds to the Steve Buscemi thing here. There are cameos in a ton of things, even in Mr. Deed. So yeah, true, good point, Mr. Padawannabe. Appreciate you keeping us honest there. So LOKI, throw some love this way on this film.
It's an early Adam Sandler movie when everything was still raw, and it was still they could get away with whatever they wanted, and it's dumb. Do not get me wrong. These are dumb people in a dumb but funny movie. So if it wasn't funny, I'd probably just be like, this is a absolute waste of my life to watch this again, but it's funny and it'll make you laugh. And that's worth watching for me. So that's pretty much almost all the early Adam Sandler stuff is thumbs up in my book because it keeps you laughing, it's funny, and you have a good time. But they are dumb. Whether it is Happy Gilmore, guess what, guys? Happy Gilmore is dumb. Adam Sandler is dumb. But Waterboy is dumb. They're all dumb movies, but they're funny movies, so we can enjoy them because they are funny movies.
Before we get to Waterboy, I wanted to say, though, I do enjoy the story of Billy Madison way more than I remembered. It's the dumb part, the loser, Uber. That first part is only good for gags. I really don't enjoy it. I know SQUEEKA's trying to narrow it down to the voice. It's the whole character for me. But the little sweet guy who's trying to win over the chick and actually make the kids happy and I'm actually really rooting for the guy. It actually really kind of pulled me in a little bit more than I had remembered. So that part of it I actually enjoyed a lot.
Well, that's supposed to be the charm. Is it goes from Moody Magazine Day to this guy that he's got a good heart and he's a good person. He's just dumb, and you want to see the dumb, funny guy get the girl and have a happy life. Why? Because he's dumb, and maybe you know what, he deserves something because he's so dumb.
And with that as well, I think it is also worth pointing out as well. Both these films that we're talking about tonight are actually Adam Sandler's 2 favorite characters he's played. So of all the stuff he's played, these are, at the end of the day, sort of the kind of that core essence of Adam Sandler in a lot of ways.
Right. That's why I thought I agree with you to pick these. So go ahead, SQUEEKA.
From just a purely asinine standpoint. The teacher and me too kind of didn't like this one because like, there's no way you can get a full curriculum in 2 weeks. There's no way Beth is great. But I had to push that aside for the comedy of the movie. But
SQUEEKA,
it was there.
SQUEEKA, were you the teacher eating glue?
I love the absurdity of if you just pass this test, it's good enough. We had the same thing happen with Back to School had a little bit of those kind of. We see a lot more with some of the college movies.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of lean into that more than the high school movies, but it's fine. It was what Loki said. I'm cheering for the guy who's putting in the work. He's putting in the reps. He's trying to do it. I wasn't really rooting for him until he puts the effort in, and then I am. And then of course,
yeah, I was rooting for him. It was just this small part of my teacher brain was like, "There's no way."
Yeah,
I'll say Ryan Reynolds did the same.
So yeah, then we move on to
Wilder.
Yeah, that's true. Then we move over to Waterboy. Things get really zany. Yeah, so Assassin. Mama says alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
I love that line.
Fred's throwing some love for Kathy Bates' character as well. The foosball. The foosball.
Foosball's the devil's work.
Foosball is the devil, Bobby.
Well, and having played football, I loved their take on football. Like, I loved the tackling is like run, bam. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, Zach's is right. I think that the absurdity of the, like, it was football on like extreme mode where like we're not going to tackle people, we're like crushing people. And then of course he jumps over the one, just kicks the guy in the chest and whatever. I mean, you would not only get penalized. But I'm having fun because
he kicks a dude in the face with one of those.
He takes out Colonel Sanders.
He does
wrong, Colonel Sanders.
Or like, I like the callback at the end when the mom takes out the dad. I'm like, yes, even the mom.
That's where he gets it from.
Yes,
from
mama.
His dear old mama.
I loved Waterboy way more than Billy Madison.
And what Waterboy does, I think, really well, the difference is for Billy Madison, the other characters are usually better known actors in these zany moments, like the Chris Farley moment or the Steve Buscemi moments and things like that. Whereas here, you have a lot of no-name actors who are like these really zany. Like, I love this guy. I've always loved this guy. I thought he's always kind of a funny, weird. He always plays some funny, weird dude. He can do this crazy. He's in several of the Sandler movies as well, a lot of them actually, and he can do that weird wandering eye thing, and it's crazy, man. This guy's nuts. So I love this guy.
I love that guy too. I didn't realize it was a wandering eye thing until he switched eyeballs on us.
He just moves it around, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I mean, I can do that trick. I just can't hold it for that long.
But yeah, Kathy Bates is a great dramatic actress. She's incredibly talented. So for her to play so many of these straight moments and then having that great tackle at the end is Mama's great. And then of course we get to see the great Henry Winkler really just being funny, just being who he is. He's so good, so talented, just a great guy. So
I love the ambiance of this movie, all the crazy, really backwoods, like Cajun stuff that's like way off the chain. And the snake, the barbecued alligators, the frog muffins.
We have for dessert.
Squirrel.
Yep, squirrel. Yeah.
And then like their decor. I love, like, there were so many other small pieces of this movie too that I feel like made it funny.
And Billy, or not Billy, but Bobby being he's so innocent. Mama got a headache. Mama gonna go lie down. And he believes everything. Everything, but Mama said everything.
Mama's wrong.
That's right. Mama's wrong again. And he's like, no, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong. But he believes everything she's saying. He has no outside influence. He is his mother's kid at the beginning of this movie. And he goes through a phase of, well, Mama is wrong. And I need to go and be a man and do things I need to do. And I like this girl and she likes me and she showed me her boobies and I like them too.
Makes me laugh so much. And then, I mean, I can't believe it. I laughed so much at just like the polyester leisure suits that he wears in this movie. And yeah, then of course he's trying to tell her that all of his football injuries are based on some attack from some random gorilla. And it's just sort of like a little aside jokes that just keeps happening.
When she puts up the sign,
Yeah,
I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah, great moments. Another great actor, Jerry Reed, of course, plays the other coach. Jerry Reed, of course, is known for a lot of Smokey and Bandit, amongst other things. But love Jerry Reed; he's great as well. This shot. This is actually was a better shot than actually when you watch the movie because it goes by so fast in the movie. They had this still with the frog muffins. So they're frog leg muffins, but they're not frog leg muffins. There's heads. These are heads. They're whole frogs. It goes by so fast in the movie that I didn't catch that there's heads as well.
They'll play up all the the Cajun kind of stereotypes and tropes like, what part of the snake is this? Well, snake don't have no parts. See, it's it's like an ankle.
I'd reckon.
Hey, Pops, your mic's going nuts, bro.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if that was me on my end. I was like trying to reset a couple things over here. And I'm like, I hope that's just me.
I thought I broke my headphones.
Oh, it was a storm, and I just unplugged it back in. So it's my headphone part for some reason. I don't know, picking up something. Sorry about that, folks. Big Show cameo. Yeah, there's tons of stuff in this movie as well. Just fun stuff. And yeah, this is Fairuza Balk. Love this was Worst Witch, which is a TV movie, sort of a precursor to Harry Potter. Huh. Okay. I just remember her just generically from the 90s era of stuff that she was in. Don't necessarily have an affinity one way or the other. She's just playing just bad girl in this movie. It pulls it off well. I loved it.
I hope you like what I did to your lawnmower.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and going back to Loki and him saying like his innocence, like the scene where he's at the party and the girls are like, have you ever been with the girl? And have you ever been with the guy? Or both at the same time? And he's like, yeah, me and my mama and Coach Klein. And they're like, what?
Yeah. The other girl's like into it. She's like, ooh, yeah, wow, this movie. Yeah.
And then
you are a bad boy, Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, and then he says, yeah, there's this girl I'm talking to, and I think she's real nice. And you can see the look on the brunette's face, like, oh, he had no idea what I was talking about.
Hey to Princess Leia Rose. Great to see her out there. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, Waterboy, I think, is definitely was more fun for me. Oh, man, the IMDb photos goes the whole scene. They're going to give us the whole. They give us the whole scene. They give us the close-up shot and everything.
She showed me her boobies, and I like them too.
I like them
too, Mama. Look at her face. Oh, that's great. What do you mean you're not gonna? Yeah.
God, they cast so well with her because she's this like total opposite to Billy, where she's like you want me to stab him, and he's just this so innocent like character.
A grown man that wears deputy dog pajamas with deputy dog on them. Exactly.
One of the most famous cameo lines, whatever, kind of made his career. Like I think he named his book or a special. Anyway, Rob Schneider, the whole "you can do it" type gag become a huge viral thing for him for sure.
And then Adam
Kinda
Sandler would turn
funny.
around and play the same character in his movies.
Multiple movies, right? A couple movies, yeah.
The Animal.
Yeah. So, yeah, we mentioned Jerry Reed briefly. Thank you, Fred. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, super good. Super fun time. Favorite parts, guys?
For me, it's a lot of like the little. It's a lot. There's a lot of little one-liners in there, like where he's gonna go Bobby's gonna go tackle the guys. No, what? As he's picturing like the coach's head on him.
Oh, the one guy he tackles and he's like, "I love you, Mama. I'm sorry, Mom," and he goes, "I love you too."
I have to be completely transparent that some of the best moments in my rewatch was things I completely forgot. So, yes, I shouldn't have laughed as much as I did to the scene, but I did because it caught me so off. I did not remember any of this like at all, and I was like, "Holy cow, this is crazy! This movie, holy cow!" So yeah.
I love like the scene where Mama comes out and she's got the coffee and she's like, "Y'all need to perk up and cheer for my boy." Like she's like, "I'm gonna straighten up the cheerleaders. We're gonna get this settled out." Like,
oh yeah, right. The drunk cheerleaders. How's that for a gig? He's kind of like just laying around. They're not even drunk. They're just passed out. They're whatever. They're passing around like wild turkey, man. Smoking cigarettes.
Well, their team sucks, so they have nothing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
well,
great.
this goes back to that. It was a totally different kind of era thing because this was the trope for high schools. Like coming from a small town high school, this was the trope. It was all about football and drinking and parties and I know that he's in college at this time, but it was the same kind of vibe. Like you wouldn't see this kind of shenanigans, I think, in any kind of movie. For like this, oh well, can't have kids drinking on campus. We can't have kids smoking on campus. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't see this kind of comedy, but it plays its important part, especially when you get that callback at the end where he's getting the football team together and giving them some pep talks, and then Mama comes along and gets the girls together and like.
You're bringing up a very good point too, because I don't know, because comedies now are so generic and vanilla. I've only seen one or two comedies in the last few years that are geared towards the high school audience that even remotely thought they were being edgy. And in hindsight, compared to this type of stuff, they're a joke. I mean, they're not even PG-13. They're PG. Even though they'll have all these curse words or maybe even a little skin scene, they think they're being risque. But compared to this type of comedy, it's just an absolute joke. Waterboy was fantastic compared to some of this other stuff that we've seen, for sure.
Well even in Billy Madison,
those all broke ground. Those were all, in a lot of ways, revolutionary films that have kind of made it, normal and lame by comparison.
Well, they were like kids saying curse words in Billy Madison, like elementary school kids. Like
yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of comedy, like even in like Happy Gilmore, like there's something to be said for, while I understand this isn't something that I don't want my kids to learn this or whatever, there's something to be said for laughing at the things that are bad for laughing's sake. Like we understand that this isn't a trait that necessarily needs to be happening, but we know it happens, we laugh at it, and we're adults. I'm not going to go show this to like an elementary school class and go, "Okay, guys, this is what college is like. Let's go get them," or even it's just I miss that. I miss that. I'm not afraid to bust social norms to display these stereotypes, like with Mama and her Cajun household and eating alligator and a big old snake. Like I've got friends from Louisiana, and they wouldn't be offended if that's the way Cajuns were portrayed. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't feel like people do that anymore.
Well, the thing is, they don't want to risk offending anyone, so you won't see any of the stereotypes. You won't see a character having these negative, tropes associated with them because, heaven forbid, you have a villain be racist. God forbid you have someone saying negative things about women in a movie, or just downright being ignorant or stupid.
Well, Beard and I were talking about this the other day after we watched Billy Madison, and comedies are like this. I said there's a fine line between I'm doing this satire or this joke, or I'm making fun of this group or this person. And if that person you're making fun of or someone from that group maybe says, okay, hey, that's pushing a few lines that could be potentially harmful to our whole group. We kind of talked about it, I could kind of understand that. Like if you're in a sitting like at your workplace and you make off-color jokes and one of your coworkers is like, hey, just want you to know that those kind of jokes aren't appropriate on me, then that's fine. You should then not make those jokes around that person. But I feel like we spend too much time saying those jokes are offensive to me, so you can't make them at all. Period.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Hail to DJ Ronnie G. Great to see you, brother. All right, Zach. Zach brings a good question. And I have my take on this because I had just looked this up recently because I was watching Airplane and The Naked Gun that I was going to do with SQUEEKA and other stuff like that. So slapstick comedies. There hasn't been, in my opinion, a slapstick comedy that's been good in the last 20-something years. Now, the last ones that kind of qualify, I think, would be Super Troopers and Old School. But that's like 2000, early 2000s. So maybe there's some others, but pretty much everything was the 90s and before.
I would say not a lot of any. Maybe the Three Stooges movie.
Yeah, but that had to be after that. You don't think that's after 2000? Three Stooges remake?
That was 2012. Like 2012, 2013, somewhere in there.
Is that because of this fear to have satire and to push an envelope? Like, is that why we don't?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Because part of the fun of being able to put these characters in with these negative associations is, making them the butt of the joke by showing them to be the ignorant ones. I mean, Blazing Saddle is the perfect example of that. All of your bad characters are made out to be dumb or ignorant or evil, racist, whereas the villagers in that movie are just, they don't know any better and they're stupid. They learned their lesson by the end.
I just feel like we do these satires and these stereotypes, and having watched these movies for the first time, like Blazing Saddles and Airplane, and now these Sandler movies, like I feel like now more than ever, like these are so many satires of so many stereotypes that have happened, and it's like we're too afraid to laugh at ourselves and say, while we're educated now and we don't understand, that this is the way things are. We know things have changed in colleges. We know it's not a big drinking, smoking party. We know that Louisiana is not exactly like squirrels for dessert. But we can't laugh at that anymore. And I don't understand what happened now that I'm seeing these things for the first time. Why don't we have movies like this? I don't know enough about
because people are afraid to be offensive.
Well, I think there's just that politically correct thing that started, and then it got even more hyperbolic because of social media, and there's a fear of being kicked out of the tribe if you like the wrong thing or whatever. But reality is these slapstick movies, when they're done right, they make fun of everything universally. So therefore we can all come together and just share a laugh as a tribe. It's not about division. It's about bringing us together. I think that there's a line that the director of Airplane, David Zucker, he was going around to promoting one of the books that he did. I think he did a book on Airplane, but I think he has another book as well. And he always uses Jim Carrey as the best example. He goes, imagine Jim Carrey trying to play Leslie Nielsen's character. Jim Carrey approaches comedy as a joke and a joke. So it wouldn't be, I am serious, don't call me Shirley. It would be, I am serious and don't call me Shirley. It would be a joke and a joke. You can't just be the joke. And I think that Hollywood has lost its way so much. I don't even know how we can get them back to write appropriate slapstick. They're not just, trying to write jokes on jokes or trying to make names for themselves. Like it's just, the train is so far off the tracks. I don't know how to get it back.
The thing is, you also got to take into mind the types of writers, the type of comedy that's become prevalent. There's a sort of ironic comedy that has tried to rise up that we've seen in recent years. So it's like you don't have people able to enjoy things for, genuinely. It's like, oh, I only enjoy this. I enjoy this because it's terrible. I like it ironically.
Well, and I brought this up earlier. Vince Vaughn said it when he got interviewed. I forget who the hell interviewed him, but he said studios used to throw us the keys and say, make your movie, make your comedy, make whatever you're going to do here, go for it. And he said that is absolutely impossible now. The studio has to have its hands in everything. The studio will tell you what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what you can get away with, what you can't get away with. There's nothing for them. There's no artistic freedom for them to do something funny. It's all controlled now.
But why? We see how well these movies did in the 80s and 90s. I mean, look at Blazing Saddles, look at Blues Brothers, look at the Sandler movies. Like, you have decades worth of movies that have, progressed through time. Like in Blazing Saddles, there's a scene about hanging and stuff like that. Well, they didn't do it necessarily a whole lot at the time that was written. I don't understand why they would take that away.
You already said the magic word. Progress. We've progressed beyond this.
Well, not just that. They don't want to give someone here's $2 million, go make your movie. They don't want to do that anymore. What they want to do is they want to put in $50 to $60 million and get $1 billion movie out of it. And that comes from Joker. That comes from these movies that had to fight for funding, then got huge, then got absolutely wrecked when they tried to come out with a sequel because the corporation had absolutely no faith. Warner Brothers made almost nothing off of the Joker. That's what nobody realizes with movies like that. Warner Brothers made practically nothing because they didn't pay for the movie to be made. They just slapped their label on it and said, yeah, it's coming from our studio. They have no faith in a lot of this stuff. So they don't back it. And it has to get financially backed from certain clubs, certain executives, certain people. And they're the ones who make that money back, not the studio. So the studio is not willing to put itself out there and go, hey, you know what? We're going to spend $2 million on this movie. And we're going to let them do whatever they want to, and we'll see what they make. Making $40 million off of a $2 million movie is not acceptable anymore. They've got to put all this money into it, and they expect $1 billion return off every movie they make. And that's the problem. The movies like this are dead now.
Well, and I feel like there's not like the crazy CGI in this. There's not. Yes, there's the violent football and the crazy scene with the boat, or the scene where the lawnmower's going super fast. Like, I know there's over the top parts, but I feel like there's not so much. It doesn't feel as manufactured, I suppose. Like, these movies feel more real, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're all hitting different nails on the head. I do think that there's also, whether we like it or not, there is the impact of social media. You'll hear marketers talking about the social media presence. So let's say you did do a local or a small budget comedy. People are enjoying it. You'll get a studio who'll go, we're going to buy up your distribution rights. We're going to dump another $20-30 million in it and just put this big social media push out there because that's what this movie needs. Now more people will see it, blah, blah, blah. You end up seeing these budgets get crazy. It's not nearly as funny to the rest of us as it was to them. It doesn't make its money back. And then it's just, we're in an endless cycle of that. Because I will tell you that since 2020, you look at the movies that have come out since 2020 that are in the comedy, they'll have comedy. My wife pointed this out many, many years ago, The Genius of Mrs. Pops. We were sorting stuff on my Fandango, what now called Fandango. It was called Vudu at the time. I have hundreds, if not I definitely have over 1,000 movies in there. But reality is, you sort it. You can sort by comedy. And there were so many movies that are comedy sort of like second or third or fourth as an adjective. They're not comedy. And that's what's filling up the gap of the comedy bucket. A comedy for comedy's sakes. I can't think of anything in the last 20. Barbie is probably the closest thing to a comedy for the sake of comedy that made a ton of money. Now, I find the movie insufferable, but at least it was what it was and made money. I don't know of much else that sort of like landed on scale. You know what I mean? I think there's one, the Jennifer Lawrence one, where she shows her business off on Hulu. But did that go to theaters, Loki? I don't know. The one, the new No Hard Feelings, I think it's what it was called.
I don't think so. If it did, I didn't even notice
direct
it was
streaming.
Yeah.
Because other than Ryan Reynolds, I don't know that anyone in Hollywood even has the weight to get a comedy for the sake of comedy made. Maybe a Jason Bateman project a few years ago, but not now. And they're all getting deals to do stuff directly to streaming to make money. And I don't know how that puts in any incentive, because I don't think it's scalable. That's part of the problem. Is they're spending money on these things. And like I said, Adam Sandler's got this massive Netflix deal. He's done a couple films. He's getting ready to drop Happy Gilmore 2. As far as I know, it's only going to Netflix. I would have thought that would have been an easy cash grab for the theaters. Like, how could that not get a pretty solid opening just because people love Happy Gilmore? Like, I don't think it's going to theaters. So, I don't know. But I tell you what, I'm glad we did this because I had a good time watching this. Go ahead.
Not heard of. Like, there's one, not The Cobbler. There was another one he just put out that looked kind of dumb, where he's like a street crossing guard or something.
There's a lot of dumb ones. Murder Mystery was okay. It's more of a Jennifer Aniston movie. There's an Adam Sandler movie. Sequel was bad. I will tell you, The Hustle, or I think it's just called Hustle. I don't think there's that in it. It's a sports movie that he co-produced with LeBron James' company, because they just do sports movies. It was fine, but it's more of a dramatic film. But I was looking at some of these other names of movies that he has, and a lot of them are on Netflix. It's like I didn't even know what these things are, let alone if they would be something I could tolerate or not. So
Halloween.
Yeah, I have no idea what these things are. There's a whole bunch of movies. Guys, obviously pulling bank on making movies, but that's kind of the age we're at. So,
also,
yeah, Waterboy is.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I know this isn't. If you look at Hollywood, and I know this isn't comedy, I'm talking about here, but in a nutshell, look at what happened with Godzilla versus Kong during the coup. It only made, $470 million on a budget of $200 million, right? That's Hollywood. We spent $200 million on this movie and we got $470 million back. The last Godzilla, it's okay. It's not what they wanted at all. But that's because they released it on streaming first. They released it on streaming at the same time they released it in theaters in the middle of the coup, and everything was haywire. Look at Godzilla Minus One. Godzilla Minus One had a budget of $16 million. It made $100 million. So it made $116 million in the box office just off that first run. And it only cost $16 million to make. This is the difference between cinema in other countries and cinema in the United States. They can make over $100 million off a movie in profit when they only spent $16 million on it. What's better, to get double your money for Godzilla versus Kong, or to get 10 times your money on Godzilla Minus One, even though you only made $100 million, it only cost you $16 million to make? They don't think that way anymore. Even with comedies, with action movies, with sci-fi movies, with whatever, Hollywood does not look at that anymore. What they look at is, okay, we're going to spend $250 million on this movie, and we expect it to make $1 billion. That's what we're hoping for immediately, right off the bat. It needs to make $1 billion. It's not going to do that every single time. It's not going to do that most of the time. It's probably not even going to do that half the time. They knew back then, when they were making these movies like The Waterboy, when they were making Kung Fu Hustle, when they were making all these movies that we've been talking about for the last couple of years that were made in the 90s and the early 2000s, they knew, hey, we can come up with a budget of $10 million and we might make $150 million. That is very successful. They don't think like that at all anymore. They need big budget hits from every which way they can. They want to put it in China. They want to put it overseas. They want to put it in every pot they can possibly get, so they can suck all the money they can out of it. And it shows, because the CGI sucks, the special effects suck, when you didn't need all of that back then. And hell, you don't even really need it now. They've just made it a business to do that now. And they made it a business not to come out with comedies where they let everybody do what they want to. Everything has to be contained. Everything has to be approved. Everything has to be in line with corporate, and you can't go outside those lines. So when you hear that statement of they just used to throw us the keys, they literally said, just go make whatever the hell movie you want to. We expect to make at least this. If you make this, we're going to throw you the keys again, and we're going to let you make another movie because you made this much amount of money. And we'll just let you do it again and again. That's why you got all these comedies from Adam Sandler. That's why you got all you got the Hangover. You got Wedding Singers. You got all the Vince Vaughn movies where they go back to college and all this stupid shit, because they made money. Even if they made $20 million, that was enough for the studio to go, okay, it's successful. We'll let you make another one. They don't do that now. Sorry for going on a little bit of a rant, but
no, that's interesting. I don't know all these things, and it's really awesome because I'll admit I don't understand it. I don't understand why you can't just say, "Hey, this did well." Like, why does there have to be a marker of it has to do this well? It has to be exceedingly well. Like, why can't
they
you
always
just
want to
go
go for
in?
the home run?
But that, to me, that's a home run. If you make a profit, like, it's, I guess maybe I'm a simpleton in terms of whatever. To me, a home run is I made it around the base. Like, I could understand if they're putting money out there for movies and making it to third base, and then their DVD sales have to get them to home run. But if you make a movie and you throw it out there and you pitch it to a crowd and everybody goes and sees it in a theater and you make your money back and then some profit prior to DVD sales or whatever, you're like, all right, I made money. I don't care if it's $1 million.
I just
did
don't think
something.
there's enough smart people to make these strategic decisions. Like, I just think it's just lazy, easy. It's easier to find stuff that has properties that they can adapt. They can just throw money around. They can do whatever. Because let's be honest, we are talking about some of the successes, but there's mountains of failures as well. And I mentioned it briefly. I was talking to SQUEEKA about how we're going to Naked Gun, and I rewatched Police Squad, which is a TV show that Paramount had did. They only lasted 6 episodes because only Paramount would give them a chance. It just didn't land. And they said, well, Paramount didn't mind. They were like, we're willing to risk it. And I don't think that happens. Because to me, if I were in charge, again, Zach's Pops Land, right? You love to have those kind of conversations, right? I'm in charge of a studio. Give me an A24 budget. I'm going to make comedies. I'm going to call the Kill Tony people and figure out, like, who wants to do a movie? Like, how do we do it? How do we figure this out? You know what I mean? You go find someone like that. They already have a brand for comedy. They already have, forget SNL. To me, SNL's dead. All the funny comedies coming out of the Kill Tony crowd, all those people are completely nuts and unhinged. And trust me, it's not PG, that's for sure. But that's where the gold would be mined for, like LOKI said, $10 to $30 million. And you're going to 3x probably every single time, because you can do a comedy circuit promotional thing through those people who are out to go see comedies and get them all out there, give away tickets, do those kinds of things. But that's not the Hollywood system. The Hollywood system, yeah, it's just not like that anymore. But I think it can be because of Texas and places like Florida where we have film infrastructure, and it could work. And I just don't know. But at the end of the day, though, this is about our Sandler Summer. We had a good time.
All right, I didn't mean to put us on a tangent. It's just
no. Chat went there too, and I think it's a great topic, and I think it's fun.
It just disturbs me that there's no comedies for this generation that match the ones that I'm seeing now. Like, I'm glad that I get to first watch these now and have that enjoyment. But looking back and knowing that y'all have seen these in theaters maybe, or other people in chat have seen the theaters, I'm like, what kind of adulthood do you have now where you enjoyed this maybe in your teens or 20s, but now life is so boring and hard because you don't have something like this now. I get the first watch thing, so I'm excited. But like, where are these guys at? And I didn't mean to bring us down a tangent. It just floored me that I got to thinking, and I was like, I haven't heard of any movies like this.
It's because they're just not being allowed to be
They're
made.
just not making them.
And the part of the problem with that is streaming, and it is streaming because the more content, the way they're looking at it is, okay, if we spend $200 million on a movie or a TV series, and they are spending like $250 million now on TV series, which is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. We spend that much money on this, we're going to get a return on investment no matter what, because we'll have streaming rights for it. So everything's coming down to streaming rights now. Okay, well, we can sell it on video demand over here. We can let Amazon rent it from us for 2 years and make back, 20, 30 million. And then we'll do that again later. They're all looking at this like, we're going to have all this content and we're going to be able to sell it off here, and here. The problem is if it's shit and nobody cares about it, no one's going to care what platform it's on. No one's going to care who's carrying it. No one's going to care who the hell made it because it's crap and nobody wants to watch it. They want to watch all this old stuff because it's funny and it's entertaining.
Speaking of budget, that brings me to another question. So you said something about how they're paying all these different companies to do parts and like the CGI and stuff like that. One of the things I love about Waterboy is the set. I love the scenes that they use. I love like even the football stadiums and some of the panoramic shots and things like that. But like down to Mom's house or like the schoolrooms in Billy Madison and the playgrounds and things like that. Do they still do like that kind of set design now?
Not as
Or
much.
is that all
Yeah.
computer generated and then they just plop them into the scene?
That's part of the separation of where we're at. Like, for instance, I'm going to do a review on F1, this new movie. It's a Brad Pitt movie. It's about a racing movie, and most of it is practical. Most of it's location stuff and actually there's a CGI crowd scene that's kind of weird because they filmed it obviously in an empty place, just kind of dubbed in the people, and it was like it jumps out at you because so much of the other stuff is practical. And I think that's it too. It's also laziness. It is cheaper to just do this stuff with computers, but they just don't understand that the visceral reaction you have to physical locations and stuff like that. And it's just we're in a different era, and I don't know. It will take some people doing it and making a ton of money for these people to wake up. Because they're all copycats. Everything is a trend. Everything is a fad. And it will take someone being smart enough to call one of these crazy comedians on a great script idea. And because every time I find one, it's up on Netflix or something, which to me is a dead end road. Like, it's great that they got their money and they're on Netflix or their little TV or their little movie. But that doesn't change culture. It doesn't really last. It's just a one and done thing. You make a Hangover movie or you make American Pie, you change the culture. You create a franchise, you have an IP, you have streaming rights, you have all of it. But you didn't have to do that for $250 million. You just filmed on location and had some great scripts, had fun gags. But
to add to that really quick before we go, I know Pops watches Tulsa. I love Tulsa. Old school directors, people like Sylvester Stallone, that are still doing things the old way and getting absolutely like shit on by Hollywood for it, because he's been absolutely shit all over by Hollywood because he does things the old school way. He is like, no, I'm going to film on location here. I'm going to film on a set here. We're going to build this bar, and it's not going to be green screen. It's not going to be computer generated. It's not going to be any of that nonsense. We're really going to be standing there doing this. You've got some old school directors that are still alive that are doing this. And they are literally fighting Hollywood because Hollywood does not want them to do this shit anymore.
No.
They want everything to be green screen. They want everything to be penciled in because they want it. That way they get to control it. If there's something there that they don't like, they can just erase it with a little eraser pen and plug something else in there. if it comes up in the future, oh, well, this has, this scene in the background, there's a Marlboro guy. They can just erase that and put something else there and act like it was never there in the first place.
But so much is lost.
And the more acceptable thing about that is they can turn around and change that out and sell it for marketing. It's a lot of people thinking from the marketing perspective of, well, this Coca-Cola scene that was in this movie, we can replace that with an RC Cola.
Well, they don't want to look bad either, right? Their egos are in the way, so we don't want to. They'll never ever promote like Godzilla -1. Oh, I know you're doing the shenanigans of me, Sandler. Yes. I know.
Yeah. Well, this is.
They're not going to want to look. They're not going to want to look bad. So, for instance, they ignore the fact that Godzilla -1 exists because it makes them look bad. But anyway, Sandler Summer. Let's wrap it up.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I still would recommend. I know we're not going to get to it, but I would recommend SQUEEKA to see Wedding Singer. Big Daddy, Mr. Deeds. Those are fine. Just if you get a chance to see them at some point, not opposed to that. I think Happy Gilmore is the superior one of the group. I find Wedding Singer the second one for me, and then Waterboy, and then in a distant. But the gags are good in Billy Madison. I do have fun and I laugh. So, but yeah, comedies. This is part of the reason we do this, SQUEEKA. We've talked about this now for 3 years. We have to keep mixing in comedies. We have to keep educating people. We have to keep showing each other fun comedies and things like that, because of all of the genres, the comedy is the one that no one wants to address the problems. No one wants to make good comedy. No one wants to try. And yeah, we're here. So yeah,
go check out
some
stuff he's done as well, because some of it is downright terrible, but sometimes you find a nice little surprising clip in the mix. Like that one I keep trying to show off there is from Jack and Jill, and I think it's probably one of the best clips I've found in recent years out of an Adam Sandler movie.
The Jack and Jill, I can't do it. But you can watch the clip. That's fine. It's like Little Nicky. I had a Little Nicky clip, and I was like, oh, God, this movie's terrible. I can't do it.
Happy Gilmore's the best because the price is right, bitch.
The price is right. And SQUEEKA didn't know. So if you didn't watch last week with Happy Gilmore, I'm just telling you, go back, watch that talk hard. Yeah, just know that... we're gonna have some fun. Next week's gonna be a little more serious movie. Again, Ironcaster's goal was to try to show some of the diversity of Sandler and things like that. And I will admit, I am very curious. I've not seen Uncut Gems. Loki, have you seen Uncut Gems?
Nope.
Yeah, this is gonna be first time for all of us. Ironcaster, you haven't seen it, right?
No, I've not.
Ooh!
Wow! First time watching reaction from all of. I don't think that's ever been a thing. I don't think we've ever all done it. So. Join us next week for that. Loki, what's the plan for tomorrow? We got a little YouTube talk or no?
Oh, yeah. We've got a little YouTube talk.
Yeah, baby.
So we're going to be talking about paid influencers, lol cows, and grifters.
That's me.
That's all I'm going to give you.
All the paid influencers from Talk Hard right here. They're coming
right
here.
Yeah. So. And the lol cows and the grifters. We're all here.
I've said this before, but even if you're not a YouTuber, oh my gosh. I have been in a funk, and then you did the talk about be yourself and things like that. I know you're talking about content, but man, sometimes some of the things that come out of your mouth, Loki, it just hits home. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? So even if you're not a YouTuber, your talks are amazing, just for people.
Well,
I love YouTube talks.
I appreciate that, and believe it or not, that is kind of the point. You hit the nail on the head. It's a promotional talk where we're promoting you, and hopefully it's helping you in some way, fashion, or form in the guise of talking about YouTube. So that's kind of always been the whole point, is to talk about things that can help you, talk about things that might be able to get you through something, talk about things that you can apply to your situation while talking about the dumbass shit that people do on YouTube. So thank you.
I just love the magic that you work with that, because there's so many people that come on there, and I know you do. I've listened to people just complain about this other thing going on YouTube, or these people doing this on YouTube, or and it's just, it really is just YouTube, and it's like YouTube bashing, or can you believe this or that, and like I said, the way that you work the two together, I not maybe not be able to present for all your YouTube talks or chat a lot, but I'll go back and listen to some of them too. Because I'll remember, I'm like, I need to go find that one where he was talking about that one guy because I need to listen to whatever he said. Like I have some of the quotes written down. I've got a sticky note book full of quotes.
Oh yeah, that's where you do it.
So for
and
sure,
if you need a smile, you can listen to Ironcaster on Mondays. The Mech Mondays with Ironcaster, another great show. Just always fun stuff.
Yes, sir. Always try to get into the pop culture stuff. A little bit of fun there. Maybe some big robots in the mix. As we invite down a little crazy cast of characters, and we try to stay on topic, but well, good luck with that.
Yeah, good stuff. And as I said, if you haven't seen it,
make on Prime Day, they had some on sale. I almost did it.
Mech Mouse coming at us. All right. Like I said, folks, if you have not seen our Blazing Saddle conversation, if you just enjoy SQUEEKA giggling, it's worth the watch. I'm just telling you. So, and I thought since we're ending on such fun notes, we might as well just have a laugh. Nothing. I showed my wife this clip. I don't know how Loki. She leaned over my shoulder and she noticed I was watching it, and I said, "Oh, wait, this is not the funny part of the movie. Let me show you my favorite part of the movie." I showed her this, and this is how we had a laugh. But, folks, if you've never seen it, check out Ong Bak. This is a clip from that. You guys be blessed. Talk hard. This movie is just crazy. You like Kung Fu Hustle, so you're going to love it. 100%. 100%. So anyway, this is from that. You guys be blessed. Talk hard.
That look right there. That look like test me, mother. Yeah.
And then there's a little old lady.
Knives for sale.